I'm Chris Thomas, and this is Master Class. We're going to cover an enhancement of a familiar technique. We'll start out with a technique. It's sometimes called a wrist compression or a wrist takedown. Kotegaishi, we use the term wrist reversal. So typically what people teach is to put your thumbs on the middle of the back of the hand, usually on the middle bone, and then you press straight back. But as you can see, as April does this, there's really nothing happening. In order to overcome the resistance in his body, she has to do something which is called neurodehabituation. She has to take his nervous system out of the picture, so he can't resist. Now the easiest way to do that is simply by shaking or vibrating. And so if she just shakes, he goes down. Now this is the exact same principle, by the way, of a taser. If you notice that a taser and all forms of stun guns, they don't have a single long electrical charge. They have a series of short charges. And the reason is that the nerve habituates. It gets used to whatever's happening. But by pulsing on, off, then the nerve can't resist. Well, what we're doing is that with a simple physical movement. We're using vibration, what we call variable pressure, to create the same thing. Now, just with that, this technique was a lot more effective, but it's actually being done in the worst possible way. To put your thumbs on the center of the back of the hand actually puts you where your opponent is strongest to resist you. Instead, what she should be doing is placing her thumbs in the space between the fourth and fifth metatarsal. It's right here on my hand, right in the space between the fourth and fifth metatarsal, just below the knuckles. Now when she does this, it causes his hand to rotate, so the hand is starting to twist. This adds another element of dehabituation. It's actually causing the nerves to have to respond to two sets of signals. Now when she does the technique with that angle, he goes down. He can't help it. His body starts turning automatically. Now the thing is, he's a lot bigger than she is. She's a nurse, she's a mom, she's 5'4", he's
5'6".
He's bigger and weighs more. So if she's going to effectively do something with him, she needs to learn to use all of her body weight and put that resistance and that pressure against the weak joint. So she can't fight against this, but she can fight against this if she uses her body. And it's a very easy thing for her to do. She'll take his hand again, and all she's going to do now is take one step forward. She's going to step towards his opposite foot and then just turn towards his outside.
You want the shake too?
No shake. And down he goes. So now, what happens if all of these elements are put together? In other words, her hand position is correct, she's vibrating, shaking, and she steps and turns all at the same time. He goes down faster and more thoroughly and rolls on the floor and flops like a fish. Now this is actually really, really simple to do, and these enhancements are no big deal. It's not like learning a whole new technique. These are very simple and subtle things to do, but I do have to tell you something. I've been practicing martial arts since 1970, so clearly I can do this. He's been practicing martial arts for over 20 years now. He can do it. She's a second-degree black belt. She grew up in a family of martial artists and has been practicing martial arts for some years now. She can do it. Here's the real question. What about someone who doesn't have that training? So what you're about to see is Katie. Katie is a person who has had 3 weeks of an exercise kickboxing course. So what she's been doing is punching a heavy bag and kicking a bag. That's the extent of her experience with the martial arts. But Master Instructor Chris Martingilio here is going to teach Katie this technique, and you'll be able to see how quickly someone with no training in this kind of joint control technique is able to do it and apply it. Master Instructor Martingilio is teaching Katie how to simply bend the wrist back and add the shaking movement, the vibration, which is the thing that allows the nerve to be overcome. And just by doing that, Katie's going to find that she's a lot more effective at this move. Then he'll teach her just the proper placement of her thumbs, and that change will make it work even better. Put this right here, and that's your spot. And now let's do the same technique. And there he goes. And then finally, he'll teach her how to step and turn as she applies the technique.
good. Now let's do it again. This time, pull to your center, take that step, and check. Nice job. Let's try.
And then the next step is just to put all three of those things together and do them simultaneously. To do them going to the right side and going to the left side.
Very good. Mitch. Nice. Again. Very good.
After that, it's just a series of specialized training drills which are designed to help Katie acquire the ability to do this quickly and naturally without having to think about it or struggle and go, what was that technique again? And so in a very short period of time, just about 30 minutes of training, she will be very proficient, surprisingly proficient.
Yep. Nice. Good. Good recovery. Good recovery. Here's a weak side. Other way. Go the other way. Up. There you go. Nice job. Good work. Here's another weak side. Up. Go.
Now, yes, there needs to be refresher training and things like that to make sure that that training that is in the nervous system now stays in the nervous system. But think about this. If Katie is able to develop this level of skill after just 30 minutes, and she's just someone we said, hey, Katie, can you do us a favor so that we can show something to somebody? How much better results can we get with someone who's motivated, who's there learning because it's their job, because they're going to the academy or they're going to a training course because they want to learn and they want to be able to do their job and they want to come through the end of a shift and go home safely. Now, I told you that I can do this. You've seen that Katie can do this. Now you need to try it yourself. Don't take our word for it. Actually do what we show and see if it's not better. And if you think it's better, then you need to know that we can do this kind of enhancement with pretty much every technique you know.